Good morning, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about challenge of living cost, economic responsibility. Today, we are here to give a presentation over issue of cost of living in Malaysia and how it impacts to the economy. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce a valuable new member of our team. First, my name is Ho Hui Moon from Bachelor of Accounting and Finance. We introduce the background and objective part. Abdul Basir from Bachelor of Business Management come to us with theory economic hardship. Connie Wong from the Bachelor of Accounting and Finance come to us with the problem of inflation and how result in increased living costs in Malaysia. Masaraf from Bachelor of Multimedia Design will come to us with how spending behavior will affect our economy and leads to increase in living costs. Last, Tangdinli from Bachelor of Visual Communication Design was responsibility to talk in discussion and conclusion part. Because of living expenses in Malaysia has become out of control, it's seriously affecting people's everyday life, as people who live in Malaysia need to face and overcome living cost challenge such as rising expenses, for example, food, housing, healthcare, education, and transportation. This situation will result in less purchasing power in our daily life. Next, inflation refers to increase in general price of goods and service over time. When inflation occurs, it affects the purchasing power of our money, making it more expensive to buy the same goods and service. During income stagnation, wages and salary often fail to keep up with the inflationary pressure on essential expenses. This creates a mismatch between income and the rising cost of maintaining a certain standard of living. When people face financial constraints due to the stagnant income, they may reduce their spending, leading to decreased consumer demand. It turn can impact business, job creation, and overall economic growth. Next, government, individual, and education sector have economic responsibility to overcome issue of cost of living in Malaysia. First, we need to do long-term financial planning to determine our short-term and long-term financial goals to reduce debt or building emergency fund. Next, government need to establish policies such as determine minimum wages in our country to close the gap between the rich and poor among people. Finally, is financial literacy and education. Education can provide better opportunity for employment. The next part is objective. In this presentation, we have clarified two objectives, which is make suggestion for realistic and practical method to reduce the effect of rising living expenses. The purpose is to investigate possible plan of action and legislative change that might reduce the economic burden of rising living expenses on Malaysians. We need to take consideration variables like economic condition, political concern, and social dynamic within Malaysia environment. The second objective was provide suggestions from policymakers and other stakeholders. To achieve this objective, important recommendations must be made to decision makers in the private sectors, government, and other relevant sectors. They should provide helpful advice on policy adjustment that may effectively solve the problem that caused by Malaysia's high cost of living to enhance sustainable economic growth.
Hi, my name is Abdul Basit and I'm from the program Bachelors of Business Management. And now I'll be talking about the rise in criminal activities due to the high living cost in Malaysia. So first of all, we'll talk about the increase in living cost. So economic hardships can contribute to an increase in living cost in Malaysia, exacerbating the problem and potentially leading to the criminal conduct. When individuals face financial difficulties such as poor income and financial obligations, it becomes challenging for them to meet their basic needs. So they go towards the criminal activities, criminal conduct to meet their basic needs. Moving on, the next point is the limiting purchasing power. So people have, as prices rise, individuals with limited purchasing power who have low income and does not have much money to spend on things, their power struggle to, for example, the struggle to afford housing, to get utilities, transportation, basic food, and other further necessities. So they cannot afford these things. That's why they move towards the criminal activities. Moving on, the next problem is the desperation. So economic hardships often result in higher unemployment and lower wages, reducing people's ability to cope with living. These adverse economic conditions can create desperation and a sense of hopelessness, leading some individuals to resort to criminal activities as means to make quick money or alleviate their financial burdens. So right now we just talked about the problems, but now we are going to talk about the solution to these problems. So the first solution would be the monetary policy. For example, controlling inflation, promoting financial literacy and inclusion, and implementing effective monetary policies can help mitigate the impact of economic hardships on living costs. And the likelihood of criminal activity will also reduce because we have more better policies in place which will reduce the cost itself. So people will not be likely to go towards criminal conduct for this reason. Moving on, the next solution would be the economic opportunities. For example, enhancing economic opportunities through job creation, promoting education and skills development, and strengthening social safety nets and crucial steps. By creating an environment conducive to economic growth and attracting investments can provide stable employment opportunities with better wages in the country. So by this, if people will have more better jobs, much better earning, they will not go towards the criminal conduct or criminal activities which will help them and help the country. So the last solution of this would be the government should invest in education and skills. By investing in education and skill training equips individuals with the necessary tools to secure higher paying jobs, strengthen social safety nets with targeted financial assistance and unemployment benefits, and affordable housing initiatives can provide a safety net for those facing economic hardships in the society. So all these will help them to cope up in the society, cope up in the country, and they will not go towards the criminal activities.
My name is Connie Wong Ji-Chen. The part I'm presentation now is about inflation. Inflation refers to general risk in price of goods and service over time. When inflation occurs, the purchasing power of money decreases, meaning that the same amount of money can buy fewer goods and service. First of all, inflation will impact cost of goods and service. That means inflation lead to higher price for goods and service. Next, inflation lead people to face wage pressure. That means individual demand higher wages to maintain their purchasing power. Lastly, inflation will impact on saving. It will impact ability to save for future expenses or growth, potentially leading to higher living costs. In a word, the buying power of Malaysian ringgit declined when the average level of pricing for goods and service grows, making it more expensive for people and family to satisfy their basic necessities. Housing, utility, transportation, food, and other basic commodities and service have a tendency to increase in price with inflation, which strains people finance. Solution to overcome inflation. The challenges for policy markets is that different solutions need to meet different needs of different groups. The government can take some action to overcome inflation and mitigate the increase in the cost of living in Malaysia. Firstly, by increasing interest rates, the central bank may enforce a strict monetary policy by increasing the cost of borrowing and lowering the money supply. This can assist this inflationary pressure. In terms of education, school can educate students about the basic knowledge of finance and understand its importance. Lastly, by the perspective of laws, government should unfair business practice can be done by strengthening consumer protection laws and organization. By doing so, customer can protect from being taken advantage of during inflationary times. That's all for my presentation. Next is another one turn.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Musharraf. I am from Multimedia Design. Now I am talking about my part. There are some problems of consumer spending habit. When the cost of essential goods and services increases, households need a larger portion to cover their need. Number 1. Cut back on voluntary spending. Number 2. Priority of essential need. Number 3. Option for cheaper alternative. Priorities on basic necessary rather than luxury item. Number 5. Less capacity to save or invest. Meeting their immediate need, long-term financial support. Solution to overcome consumer spending habit. They need to increase interest rate. Education and financial literacy. Everyone need to know about the education and financial literacy, especially for the student. Customer protection and law need to apply. And this is my part. Thank you.
My name is Ding Junli and I'm from Bachelor of Visual Communication Design. Overview: as Malaysia developed for over the years and as the economy expands, the demand for goods and services increases and leading them to a higher price as businesses respond to the market forces by adjusting the price accordingly. So as the cost of living increase, it may contribute to social inequalities between different regions, causing individuals gather with others that has a similar social economy. And also, as we know, Malaysia has relied on imported goods, so the changes as trade policies, disruptions in supply chains, or fluctuations in exchange rates in global market could also causing the cost of the imported goods has increased. And so, it will also affect people's standard of living, making them have low purchasing power. And in order to solve this problem, we have some future recommendations that could be taken action by the government. So the government can enforcing regulations and also establishing or adjusting minimum wages policies to ensure the employees get the fair wage to align with their cost of living. And also lastly, they can have income support programs to help lighten the burden of the low-income family. So in conclusion, there are some challenges of Malaysia that various aspects are actually facing. So for the individual, they are facing financial strain and reduced disposable income. And for businesses, they are having a profitability pressures, market competitiveness, and reduced consumer spending. And for the economy, they are facing slower economic growth, inequality, and investment climate. So there are some future recommendations that can be taken action. The first one is to encourage sustainable and green practices. It is to promote the energy efficiency and also to promote the renewable energy initiative to reduce the utility costs. And another one is to review and reform government policies. So the government can continuously review and adjusting the minimum wage policies to ensure the fair compensation. Next one is stringent financial literacy and education. It is to encourage savings and responsible financial. And for the last one is to promote economic growth and job creation. It is to strengthen vocational training programs to enhance skills and employability. So, and that's all from us. Thank you.